Hey, boys and girls, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the long Memorial Day weekend. I hope you and your family continue to do well. We're in the home stretch. I know this has been going on for a while now, but there's not much left before we're going to hit summer break. So I need you to stay strong with me and hang in there. And all I can ask is that you keep doing your best. We've been doing fantastic work so far. And I just want that to continue until we're done with this and we'll have the summer to look forward to and a nice long break. Anyway, we're going to continue where we left off before the long weekend, which was our weather unit, and we left off with this topic of humidity. Now, I totally get that this can get a little confusing. There's a lot of vocabulary words in this, and it can get a little confusing for us to understand the differences between each of them. So the first thing I want to do is kind of just review and hit upon some important things from the lesson we did last Wednesday and Thursday. So the major focus of the lesson is this word humidity. And when people look to what the weather is going to be on a certain day or into the future, humidity is often an important part of a weather forecast. And it's simply the amount of water vapor that is in the atmosphere. And that water vapor gets up there because of that evaporation. Evaporation is when the liquid turns into a gas. And on a weather report, you'll always see humidity shown as a percentage. Okay, so very important. Humidity on a weather report is a percentage. Now, there's also something called relative humidity. And basically, as we go down here, relative humidity still has to deal with the amount of water vapor that's in the air. However, now it's kind of a ratio or a comparison based on how much water vapor there is based on how much the air can actually hold. And how much the air can hold depends on the temperature of the air. Warmer air can hold more air than colder air can. So we go from humidity to relative humidity. Now, another new word that comes into play is something that we call saturation and dew point. So as I scroll down here, eventually the air can't hold any more water vapor. There's a limit to how much it can hold. And when it gets to 100%, we have something called saturation, kind of like when a sponge can't hold any more liquid. And if it's saturated air, the relative humidity is at 100%. Okay, it can't go above 100%. All right, so saturation is 100% relative humidity. And there's a temperature that this happens. That temperature where saturation occurs is called the dew point. Okay, so if we go above saturation or more than 100% relative humidity, precipitation, rain, fog, whatever, will form. And the dew point is going to be very important to kind of tell us how it feels outside. Generally, the higher the dew point, the more uncomfortable it will feel. Dew point is a much more reliable way of knowing how it feels outside than just the humidity would be. So on a weather report, it's better to look at the dew point than just the humidity. Okay, so basically, now I'm going to go to a weather report. And this weather report from Weather Underground is for, if I can scroll to the top here. This is for your South Brunswick area, and it's about 11:30 on Monday. That's Memorial Day when I'm doing this. And as we can see, the temperature in South Brunswick when I'm doing this is about 60 degrees. I think to most people that would be a pretty comfortable temperature, not too hot, not too cold. And as I scroll down to get some more weather data, I look to the humidity, and it's showing a humidity of 82%. Okay, if I were to see that, I'd be like, that's pretty close to 100%. If the humidity is telling me how comfortable it is outside, I'm going to think an 82% humidity is probably pretty sticky and gross and humid outside. Maybe I want to stay in because it's just not going to be comfortable. However, the humidity alone is not always the best indicator. So I also want to go up and look at the dew point. All right, well, the dew point's 56. Well, generally, if the dew point is below 65 degrees, it's pretty comfortable outside. So this 56-degree dew point is going to tell me that, oh, even though the humidity is 82%, based on the temperature, the dew point's 56 right now, it's actually not too uncomfortable outside. So today would be a nice day to go out and not, be uncomfortable. So that's for South Brunswick at about 11:30 on Monday. Okay, now I also searched another location. It's also about 11:30 there, but we're going to go south and we are going to go to Florida. Now, if you know anything about Florida, if you've ever been there, most of the year, it's often uncomfortable to go outside. Not all the time, but it's often. So if we look at the temperature of Miami, that's where we're at. All right, it's 75 outside. Let me go back and show you that again. So currently it's 75 degrees. All right, not too bad. That's a nice temperature. Now let's go down and take a look at the weather data. Okay, I take a look. All right, humidity is 92%. Okay, that's higher than it was in South Brunswick, but not by a lot. Okay, so I'm going to look at that and go, oh, that doesn't look too comfortable. It's close to 100%. Let me check out that dew point as well. Oh boy, the dew point is higher than it is in South Brunswick. It's 74 degrees in Miami. Now that's going to tell me, wow, if it's above 65 degrees for the dew point, it's on that uncomfortable side. Now it could be worse, but it's definitely going to be more uncomfortable in Miami than it's going to be in South Brunswick to go outside. So again, that dew point is the better indicator of how it's going to be. You can search this basically any place on Earth that will give you weather data. So to sum this all up, I also found this little website here that kind of tells you, and I know it's coming from a reliable source, it's weather.gov. But this website kind of gives us a summary of dew point versus humidity. It says the dew point is the temperature the air needs to be cooled to in order to achieve a relative humidity of 100%. So if the dew point matches the outside temperature, let's say it's 50 degrees outside and the dew point is also 50 degrees, the air is completely saturated. It's 100% relative humidity. At this point, the air cannot hold more water in the gas form. If the air were to be cooled even more, water vapor would have to come out of the atmosphere in the liquid form, usually as fog or precipitation. The higher the dew point rises, the greater the amount of moisture in the air. This directly affects how comfortable it will feel outside. Many times, relative humidity can be misleading. What that means, it's not the best thing to look at, like we just talked about. For example, a temperature of 30 and a dew point of 30 will give you a relative humidity of 100%. Remember, the temperature and the dew point matches in that situation. But a temperature of 80 and a dew point of 60 produces a relative humidity of 50%. It would feel much more humid on the 80-degree day with a 50% relative humidity than on the 30-degree day with 100% relative humidity. This is because of the higher dew point. Wow, that was a lot of stuff right there. So basically, if you're getting confused by this, that's okay. I understand that a lot of people will be. But the one thing I do want you to take from this is that the higher the dew point is, that's the thing to look at on the weather map. The higher it is, 65 or above, it's pretty much uncomfortable to go outside. If it's below 65, it's a pretty comfortable day. Now, of course, the more below 65 it is, the more comfortable, dry the air will be. The more 65 and above that it is, the more wet or humid feeling it will be. Okay, and that kind of tells you at the bottom here as well. This actually gives you 3 indicators. Less than or equal to 55 is dry and comfortable. Between 55 and 65 is becoming sticky, so it's slightly uncomfortable. And greater than or equal to 65, lots of moisture, becoming oppressive. That means like you really feel the heat and humidity in the air. So one more time, the dew point is a much more reliable indicator of how it feels outside than just the relative humidity is. But either way, both very important things to look at on the weather map. And since we were talking about the weather map, let's go back one more time. Hope you're still with me. And I really hope you're also watching these videos that we post in their entirety and not just kind of fast forwarding or ignoring them, because you do get a lot of information from them. Since we're on the weather map again, and this was the South Brunswick map, let's not forget air pressure, where my mouse pointer is at the top here. That's also a very important indicator. And we talked about the dew point, the humidity, and up in the big circle, the current temperature, and over here in the smaller circle, your current wind speed and the direction it's coming from, and above that, your current conditions, which in South Brunswick, just like where I'm at in Hopewell right now, it is cloudy as well. All right, so hope you learned something about how that dew point helps us to see how it feels outside. And from now on, when you check the weather, rely on that dew point more than the humidity.